Hello and welcome back to the MLB DFS Slate Breakdown for April 5th, Friday. We are back. We got a 7-game slate today, and we're going to be going over it. We'll start with the perfect lineups, winning lineups from yesterday, followed by pitching and stacks. Now, as you can see, we're on a different page to start. We have a new MLB tool, MLB Dinger Report. Essentially, this gives you a lot of data to pick dingers. And it's a very nice tool. We've been working on it for a little bit. And I definitely say you should check us out. And if you have not already joined us, you should. LineStar, $39.99 per month gets you access to all the props, all the DFS, all the tools. You get it all, one low price. Now, let's get into the slate a bit. We'll get over to good old DraftKings. I almost skipped going over yesterday's slate. So, perfect lineup from yesterday on DK. Martin Perez, Tanner Beebe, little two-man Pittsburgh stack, two-man Royals got it done, and then some one-offs. And the lineup that won it all, Seth Lugo, Martin Perez, and a St. Louis stack, a KC stack. Oh man, we were just all over the board. Miami stack here. So they just did a ton of mini stacks and got it done. And Beavis 2124. Congrats. You got 50K richer. Now, on to FanDuel. We will do the same. On FanDuel, it was only a 3-game slate, but Tanner Beebe was the pitcher. We had a 2-man St. Louis, 2-man Miami, 2-man Washington, 2-man Pittsburgh. So just 2 men all around the board. And McLovin was the winner. Had a 3-man Pittsburgh stack, 1 Miami, 1 off with Burgers, 2 home runs. 2 St. Louis guys. 1 off Washington, 1 off Minnesota. Got it done. So congrats to McLovin. You won another tournament. Big surprise. Now, let's jump into today's slate. As always, starting on pitcher, highest owned, Hunter Green, 35%. We do have a 5-star alert score on him. It's a good matchup, but he is at home, and he's not as good at home. He gives up hard contact to righties. Mets have a lot of righties. They also have a lot of home run pop, and we're at Great American Small Park, where Hunter Green allows 2 home runs per 9. My issues here, he allows a decent amount of fly balls, a decent amount of hard contact, and in this stadium, that's 2 things you don't really want to do. Now, he has major upside because of his strikeouts, 30% K rate. Mets strike out a decent amount, so I am definitely intrigued, but I wouldn't be going overboard. I think he's going a little bit too high owned, but it's a nice spot, and he's priced right on DraftKings. Spencer Strider, it's Spencer Strider, man. I'm not going to be fading him. I'm not going to be telling you to fade him probably ever unless he's, 99% owned one day. But all in all, it isn't the best matchup in the world for Strider, but he is an incredibly good pitcher, and he can beat anybody. I don't mind going with some Strider. The 31% ownership does not scare me off. Griffin Canning, the price is right. 7K is cheap for this guy. He has a big-time ceiling when he's on. The matchup versus Boston isn't the greatest. 163 ISO versus righties, 327 WOBA versus righties, but at least they strike out at 24%, and Canyon has a 26% K rate. So I like the aspect of the upside from the K department at only 7K. It intrigues me enough to definitely get some of him. Then as far as some pivots here, I like Brady Singer. He just came off a just amazing outing versus Minnesota. Now he gets a weaker opponent in the White Sox. He has a good umpire. Chicago strikes out at almost 22%. Super low WOBA, super low ISO. He averages 82% more fantasy points while at home. Definitely intrigued with some Singer, and optimizers probably aren't going to be pushing too much of him because of what his price is. So I'm fine to get crazy and get a little bit of a Singer there. Now, let's get over to FanDuel, go over some more pitchers there. And highest ownership, Spencer Strider. Next, we got Freddie Peralta. We didn't get to go over Freddie last time, so we do now. Look, Freddie is a very, very good pitcher. He has giant upside. Put up 49 last game, 6 innings, 8 Ks, 1 earned run. Now he gets Seattle, who strikeouts 24%. They do have a decent WOBA, though. Very high ISO at 200 versus righties. So I do like Freddie Peralta, but I am a little bit worried about this matchup for him. I don't love having him face Seattle, but I will have some of it. I just think he's going a little bit too high owned on FanDuel. The K rate, though, is there. He has a very high ceiling, so do not be totally fading him, but maybe not as much as the field. Canning, we went over, 7.2K, still absolutely in play here. Hunter Green is too expensive on FanDuel, so he's not getting ownership, but because he's not getting ownership, I would consider a little bit of him here on FD. Brady Singer is absolutely still in play on FanDuel as well. Now, let's get into some stacks. Get into the fun. All right, so highest owned, we got the Mets. Kind of crazy because Hunter Green is also one of the highest owned pitchers. So something's got to give here. You know, either you just fade both and stay away from that game and hope that Hunter Green doesn't get enough strikeouts to be optimal and there's not enough home runs for the Mets to be optimal. Or you got to make a decision and play one side of them. Now, 88% owned is not too high where I'm not going to consider playing them, but it is also getting up there where I want to be a little selective with the stacks I take. Mets are in a decent situation. Hunter Green gives up harder contact to righties than lefties, but there is the righty-lefty aspect of it, and so I don't mind a couple lefties, but righties I think is where you want to focus. And they're in a decent matchup. Our Dinger report has them at the best odds for, or best scoring situation. So I'm not shying away from the Mets. I'm going to have some, not going to go overboard. I don't mind going to the other side with Cincinnati either. Houston, Cody Bradford. I think picking on him makes a whole lot of sense. Highest game total of the day. Bradford isn't great. 4.72 FIP over his last 20, 4.85 over his last 5. Gives up, over 2 fantasy points per plate attempt. With this good old stack here, definitely intrigued by picking on Bradford and going with Houston. Philadelphia's popping. It's our, favorite punching bag in Patrick Corbin. Look, if Patrick Corbin isn't super high owned, if Philadelphia is not super high owned, I'm going to probably have a lot of them because I love picking on Patrick Corbin. It's just as easy as that. All right, now highest projected stacks. We got Atlanta Braves coming in. Now this stack is super expensive. You're not going to go there, but the Braves are a stack that is projecting very, very well. And with Tommy Henry on the bump, it makes a lot of sense. 5.11 FIP over his last 20. Splits are in Braves' favor. It's a good hitting ballpark. Great offense. Makes sense to want to go there. Houston is in just a great spot versus Cody Bradford. Definitely like that one. Philadelphia, like I said, is one of my favorite stacks today. Picking on Patrick Corbin is always a favorite of mine. One of the things, Texas is popping up a little bit here. I am absolutely intrigued by Texas. It is a stack that I think is going to be lower owned. Hunter Brown is a very good pitcher. At the end of the year, he wasn't so much of that, but he did have a good spring, had a good first outing. So I'm a little scared about going by Hunter Brown, but he has had some blow-up games, so I will have some Texas stacks They're a very good offense. Don't mind sprinkling them in a little bit. Now, onto the value side. Mets are popping up as value. They are in a great spot versus Hunter Green in Great American Small Park. Definitely has, potential home runs, and Green does have some blow-up capabilities. So don't mind going to some Green when Green also could be a little higher owned on DraftKings with his pricing. A little bit of leverage. They are higher owned, but 2.4x value is interesting. We got the White Sox versus Brady Singer. Look, White Sox are terrible. I'm going to have a real hard time stacking them ever. And versus a guy that just had such a good outing in Singer, I'm probably not really going there too much this game. Am intrigued a little bit by the Royals, though. Royals have started off pretty hot. Witt is just red hot. Eric Fedee hasn't been great. 5.58 FIP over his last 20, 6.49 over his last 5. He did have a very good spring, so he could have a good game here, but I am a little bit intrigued by the Royals at lower ownership here. Next, high ceiling, Braves, Philly, Houston. I mean, those are the top 3 stacks of the day. Not surprised that they have the highest ceiling. Highest leverage score, Washington against Aaron Nola. Washington has been a little pesky lately, and they're cheap, so it makes some sense to want to go there. Showing decent value, decent ceiling. Don't mind going there. I just don't absolutely love it here. Also, Cincinnati. Cincinnati has the Great American Small Park. They're at home. Jose Quintana is a decent pitcher, but doesn't go that deep into games, doesn't have huge strikeout stuff. Definitely could be some balls in play here. So intrigued a little bit about Cincinnati. And as far as highest implied total, we got Houston and Astros with that. And then just make sure we didn't miss on a pitcher. Nope. Talked about Corbin, talked about Fedee. Those are some of the worst pitchers on the slate there. So all in all, I think it's a pretty interesting slate. A lot of different ways to go. And make sure you check out our good old Dinger Report if you have not seen it already. It's a nice little new tool we got. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe to LineStar YouTube page. Also, if you haven't already, come join us. Adios, guys. Have a good one. Good luck.